Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Study with Pedro. Today we are doing a remake. It is Saturday, March 27th, because the first live was a disaster. There were a lot of motorcycles, children crying, and it was very difficult to understand, to hear. So I listened to it recently, and I said we need to do another live. So this is a remake. Again, I apologize for the quality of the audio. And let's go directly to share screen. Again, for those of you who saw it the first time, if you're new today, welcome. And here we are. We are going to share screen right now. It will take a few seconds. And there we go. I'm going directly now to PowerPoint. And here is the normal slide before we get started. Now, antes de começar, you see that get started again. I tried to include the slide, or at least get started in every lead slide. All right, I have to explain some things. Remember, this is an English lesson using the Bible, a Biblia. And some people, we get new people all the time. I need to explain some things for the new people. One, we have the red letters, which will be all the words with any, some, every, and no. Anywhere, I believe I missed one. There will be one word without that should be in red. Then the blue letters these are the key words for the intermediate students: always, else, only, and ever. Now we need these words, obviously. Always, sempre. Ever, todo tempo. Desculpa, última palavra na lista. Ever is todo tempo. Now, forever is para sempre. And ever is in todo tempo. Passado e futuro. Else, mais ou outro, and then only. Somente ou único. Pedro is the only person in Brazil who can do whatever. I don't know. All right, brackets will be the participles. This will be the perfect tense and also the participios. Então, we'll see those. Then italics will be the prepositions. And then the asterisk will be the adverbs with ly, and then underline will be the keywords for that I will highlight. Destacar. Então, let's go directly to our presentation today, and it is called What's Today? What's today? And it depends on who you talk to. What are you talking about, Pedro? Well, we'll find out. And this is in Acts 3 and verses 1 through 10. I'm going to go directly to Acts 3:1. Verse 1, one day Peter and John went to the temple area, and it was 3:00 in the afternoon, which was the time for the daily temple prayer service. By now, our veteranos, will know service is culto and prayer oração. Now, daily is diariamente. So here, daily, weekly would be semanalmente, and then monthly, mensalmente, and then yearly or annually is every year. Now, we have two words, yearly and annually. Yearly is not specific. Like I go to the doctor for my yearly checkup. And then we do this annually is usually on the same day. We meet annually on March 1st. So it's a little more specific there, but it isn't 100%. All right, verse 2. And as they were entering the temple area, a man was there who had been crippled all his life. Aleijado. I think that is not politically correct these days to say aleijado. Like in the United States, we don't say crippled, we say somebody who's disabled. So the times have changed. Now, the word as here, I highlight as, not highlight, but you see it all the time. As is como. Como. Now, here, as is while, in cuanto. While they were entering, or as they were entering the temple area, a man was there who had been crippled all of his life. He was being carried by some friends who brought him to the temple every day. Now, here's one of those prepositional phrases: to the temple, to the temple. And it is very difficult for you to listen. So if you're at home listening, repete, por favor. To the temple, not to the temple. Everybody learns to the temple. To the temple. Who brought him to the temple. Now here we have two participios, both using the verb to be. Now the first one had been crippled. This is the perfect tense. Had been crippled all his life. This is tempo perfeito passado. It's an extended time. Até neste momento, who had been crippled all his life. The second one is he was being carried. Now this is a tempo continuo. So he was being carried, but it's still the verb to be. He was being carried by some friends. All right. They put him by one of the gates outside the temple. There's another one. We definitely need this one. They put him by one of the gates. To you is one syllable, uma sílaba. They put him by one of the gates outside the temple. It was called a gate. And there he begged for money from the people going to the temple. He begged for money. And beg here is implorar. Beg, implorar. So he begged for money from the people going to the temple. All right. Now, how did they tell time back then? Tell time. In English, we tell time. Well, first, let's go to the days in the calendar. Remember, the first question was today. First, the calendar. This is strange because Israel had two calendars, a lunar and a solar calendar. So you know these words, lunar and solar. The lunar calendar obviously used the moon. And there was a new moon approximately, good luck, approximately every 29 days. Once a month, or about 1 month. So actually, that's where we get the name month from. It used to be months. Month. 1 month was 29 days. 1 month. Oof. Então. And 354 days per year. 12 times 29. So 354 days, obviously, there's a problem. We have 365. So about, mais ou menos, about every 3 years, they had to add 1 month to the year. A little crazy. So more than difficult. And it wasn't exact, because that's 33 days. And that's more than 1 month. So the calendar was crazy with that lunar calendar. And then we have the solar calendar. And obviously use the sun. Now this had 364 days. 364. That's 52 weeks times 7 days. 52 weeks times. So times, she's like in math, and vezes. In English and Portuguese, times, vezes. 7 days. That's 364 days. And New Year's Day was always on the same day. And this was, I believe, it was a Wednesday. I'm almost positive. New Year's Day was always on a Wednesday. That would be nice, wouldn't it, at work? No more New Year's Day on Saturday or Sunday occasionally. Always in the middle of the week. Get Tuesday and Wednesday off. All right. So New Year's Day was always sempre on the same day. And so were também all the festivals. So were all the festivals. And they have many festivals. We will look at those, some of those in the future. But periodically, they added 1 week. and this was usually every seven years. This wasn't exact either, because you had 364 days and 365 and 1/4, un cuarto. So there's an extra 1/4 day, un cuarto de dia, that they needed to fix also. So, and this was favored by the sons of Zadok. And these people were very strict with their calendar. They did not accept the the lunar calendar. Intel. Now the hours. In the Old Testament times, hours never existed. They didn't have hours. The sundial was invented 5,500 years ago. You know that word invent, inventar, and the sundial, it's relógio do sol, 5,500 years ago. And that's old. But the Romans, they were the first to divide the day into 12 hours. Well, they had their problems too. We'll look at those. But people scheduled generally in the Old Testament. They didn't have times. They had noon. As you know, noon is meio-dia, noon. So they when the sun is over us, that's noon. Then afternoon, depois de meio-dia, and then morning. So how did they do that? They said, well, we'll do something in the late afternoon. I can never remember this word. Cedo. No, not cedo. Ao contrário. Tarde. Tarde de manhã. You don't have this. You just have the beginning and the end of the morning, and beginning and the end of the afternoon. So late morning, tarde de manhã, cedo de tarde. Ooh. So imagine this in Brazil. Oof. Então, the days are longer in the summer than the winter. And this is a big problem with the Roman sundial, because now you have 12 hours and 10 to 14 hours of sunlight. So this wasn't exact, exato. Imagine that in Brazil. I can't imagine. 1 o'clock is not 1 o'clock. So Peter went around 3 o'clock. Around 3 o'clock. He didn't have quartz timing or Timex or Rolex. All right. Verse 3. That day he saw Peter and John going into the temple area. Now, when remember, he is the crippled man. This is the crippled man. So he saw Peter and John going into the temple area, and he asked them for money. And remember, ask is pedir, and beg, implorar. And probably the same thing. Now, the more things change, the more they stay the same. This is a French expression. The more things change, the more they stay the same. People beg everywhere and all the time. It has never changed. Now, where was this picture taken? Oh boy. So this looks like a disaster. Where is that picture taken? Well, this was taken in San Francisco. And people don't believe me, but the worst parts of the United States, as partes piores of the United States, are worse than the worst parts of Brazil. You don't believe me, but in the United States, the problems, the areas, the most dangerous areas are located in one place. Here in Brazil, you have bad parts and everywhere. So, or at least in São Paulo, it's dangerous, but it's not. We don't have really bad places here in Brazil like we do in the United States. All right, what comes after verse 3? Well, of course, verse 4. Pedro's a genius. All right. Peter and John looked at the crippled man, remember aleijado, and said, "Look at us." He looked at them. He thought they would give him some money until he noticed Peter was married. Okay. All right. So obviously, this is not in the Bible. But notice, we say notice instead of en vez de perceber, or perceive. We have the word perceive like persevere, but we don't use it. We use notice. So the verb is notice, noticed that Peter was married. All right. Verse 6. But Peter said, I don't have any silver or gold, but I do have something else I can give you. There's something, algo más, I can give you. By the power of Jesus Christ from Nazareth, stand up and walk. Here, stand up is levantar. Now here also, do is for emphasis. I do have something else. Now everybody learns, including my students, yes, I have. No, I don't have. Don't say I do. But here in English, we do say do. Why? To emphasize something. I have something else I can give you, or I do have something else I can give you. So he said this for emphasis. And in verse 7, then Peter took the man's right hand and lifted him up. Now here's levantar again. Immediately, his feet and legs became strong. Now Peter couldn't have taken the man's right hand. He couldn't have. And here's the key words here, podría ter. Couldn't have taken the man's right hand unless he was willing. Al menos. And then here willing is disposto. Disposto. Now, there were no miracles without the person doing something, or some action in the Old Testament and the New Testament that I have noticed. Everything has an action. God just doesn't say, here's a miracle. Here's another miracle. There was always, with the miracle, there's always an action of some kind. If I'm wrong, if anybody knows, please send me an email or a message on WhatsApp. And the crippled man probably extended his hand. All right. Now, levantar. It's confusing. Stand up from a chair. Levantar, da cadeira. Levantar de cama. Get up from bed. Stand up and get up. Now, raised can be aumentar também, but I wanted to use this because there's raise and rise. I raised the prices and the prices rose. Tempo passado. Rise, rose, risen, and then raise, raised, raised. What is the difference? Something acts on the object, and that raises the object. The object itself, the object rises, but something acts on that object. So I raised the prices and the prices rose. All right. And then there's lift. Lift the sofa so I can clean under it. Here, so is Intel. Lift the sofa. Levanta. All right. Verse 8, he jumped up, stood on his feet, and began to walk. He went into the temple area with them, and he was walking and jumping and praising God. Walking and jumping and praising God. Now, praise is lovar. That's confusing. I always think louvor, and that is praise also, but it's the substantivo. Now, the verb is lovar. Anyhow, verses 9 and 10, all the people recognized him. You see that word reconocer, almost the same, right? All the people recognized him. They knew he was the crippled man who always sat by the beautiful gate and begged for money. Now they saw this same man walking and praising God. The same man walking and praising God, louvando. And they were amazed. They were amazed. They did not understand how this could happen. Podría. Now, amaze, by the way, is surpreender. The verb is amaze. They were amazed as the as the participio. I am amazed. Maravillado. Here they were amazed. Oh, nossa. Now, what is in a name? What is in a name? We have the beautiful gate. Beautiful gate. That sounds good. Beautiful gate. Really? Yeah, it sounds good. There it is. Soar. It sounds good. It has a nice name, the beautiful gate. I want to go to the beautiful gate because I don't want to, it is better than the ugly gate. So, hey, everybody, let's meet at the ugly gate. Let's meet at the beautiful gate. It sounds better. All righty. Now, here's a few places. Here are a few places I want to live. I want to live in good success. Good success. Well, bom sucesso in Guarulhos. This is from Google. Here's a picture from Google. True story. Google gave me this picture for bom sucesso. And then I want to live in good climate. Good climate. Hey, who doesn't want to live in good climate? And that's bom clima. I went to Google for this one. Hey, here's a picture of bom clima. Well, I don't want to live in bom clima either. Oof. And then we have good view. Hey, I want to live in good view. As you know, this is Boa Vista. Good view, Boa Vista. And hey, here's a nice view of Boa Vista. Nice picture from Google. Wow. Então. Now, what is in a name? What is in a name? How about this name? Y'all know this name? It's Jesus. What's in this name? Well, this name has power. The power is poder. This name has power and it has hope. It is the only name that has power and hope. And here it is, something no other name gives in these times, especially in these times of coronavirus. All right, why do we have COVID in the world today? Why? Everybody asks me. And what is my answer? I don't know. That is not my business. That's for God to know. But I do know this, for emphasis, I do know this, that COVID serves as a reminder, lembrete, that God is still God. Now, still means not changed. And this is the truth. God is still God today. And in Psalm 46:10, it says, be still. Now, in English, be still, fique calma, respira, don't move, don't. But in the Hebrew, the meaning really is afastar deste mundo. Get away from the world. Get away from the COVID. Get away from work. Get away from all the things. Be still, and know that I am God. Know that I am God. And we need this reminder all the time. Nesse lembrete, né? Então, now what about the beggar? The beggar. Now, what does a beggar do? A beggar begs. I don't know what beggar is in Portuguese. Implorador, I don't know. What about the beggar? Well, he is just like us. Igualzinho, como nós. He had his physical problems. But all of us have had our spiritual problems. There's another one. All of us. Repete em casa. All of us have had our spiritual problems. And it's called sin. Sin, pecado. And we have begged for the answer. Everybody has begged for the answer, or at least looked for the answer. And everybody, 100% of the people, and they still are. They don't tell you, but they are begging for the answer. And the problem is we look to the world for answers, except we look, or have looked, or still look to the world for answers. We want to live in bom sucesso, bom clima, boa vista. But this is not reality. This is not the real world. They sound good, but this is not reality, as you noticed. Now, the beggar did one thing to be healed. He did one thing. What did he do? He extended his hand. He extended his hand. Just like, igual, como, we need to do. Just like we need to do. We need to extend our hand to God because God already has given us his son. God gave us his son, and he offered himself. Eli mesmo. There's our reflexivo. Jesus offered himself as a sacrifice. Now we need to extend our hand. We need to accept this sacrifice as ours. And faith is the answer, the key. We need answers in times like these. We don't need explanations. Be still, afaste desse mundo. Get away from this world and know that I'm God. And that is the answer really to all our, everything, really. Now, I want to mention Romans 8:38 and 39. And it says, I am sure that nothing can separate us, this, separar, from God's love. Not death, life, angels, or ruling spirits. Now, I don't know ruling spirits in Portuguese. Forgive me. I'm sure that nothing now, nothing in the future, no powers, poderes, nothing above us, and nothing below us, nothing in the whole created world, mundo criado, inteiro, will ever, nesse todo o tempo, passado, presente, futuro, will ever be able, capaz, to separate us from the love God has shown us in Christ Jesus, our Lord. Not even COVID. And that choice is yours. Escolha sua. And it is only a question of faith. We don't have the physical answers in this world. We don't know all the answers, but it is a question of faith. And here we will stop. And good night, everybody. Actually, good afternoon for anybody who is watching this for the second time or the first time, actually. So thank you for watching today's live, and we will see you at our normal time, Thursday at 8 o'clock next week. All right. Thanks, everybody, for watching this remake of Thursday's live. Good afternoon. Have a good weekend, everybody.